All right, let's stay with the story and speak to SABC News senior reporter Canny Maphanga, who's joining us live now. Canny, how does, especially when you look at this particular version now of these two complaints, why is it important to have it come up?
Well, good afternoon to you, Bongiwe, and to the viewers. It's not so much about the complaints, but the test that is being put forward towards the question of the credibility of the witness. So you remember that when she testified in her evidence in chief, she did testify that she made the initial complaint in December of 2022, that is in the offices of the Office of Chief Justice in Midrand, Johannesburg. She then testifies that she went back to the Eastern Cape and then she got the communication from the Secretariat that her complaint had been quote-unquote misplaced. At the time, she said that she had to lodge a new complaint, which is why we understand the complaint before the tribunal to be the January 2023 complaint. Now, she states that when the complaint was made, the second one I'm referring to, it was made without sight or without looking at the other complaint, meaning she testified that she did not have a copy of that December 2022 complaint. Now, that's not a big issue, but the big issue for Mbenenge's counsel is to test whether she is being honest in asserting that before the tribunal. So what they're saying is that when you look at those two complaints, that it is improbable that she did not have sight of the copy while making the new complaints, which is why the line of questioning kept going through each line, word for word, looking at the similarities, even where the full stops are, even where the grammatical errors are. There were 4 errors that were identified by Advocate Moses Kakane SC on behalf of Judge President Selby Mbenenge, where the errors were identical in the copies that are before the tribunal, with Skakane arguing that it is just humanly impossible to have the exact identical complaint and to commit the same identical errors. But the issue is not the complaints per se. What they're trying to illustrate to the tribunal is what about the credibility of the witness. So the test or the purpose of that exercise that you saw Skakane doing is that he's trying to show the tribunal that there is dishonesty in this particular claim. Now, if you can be successful as a respondent's counsel in convincing a tribunal that there was dishonesty, then it brings down the credibility of the witness. Then the tribunal has to be exercising caution when they consider the entire evidence by that particular witness, because then you would have proved that there is some form of propensity to lie. So that is the purpose of the exercise. It's not so much about the complaints. There's nothing wrong with the 2 complaints or supplementing or whatever the case may be, or bringing about a new complaint. The issue is the telling of the version of events, if it is probable before the tribunal.
There's another version that we now have heard is going to be challenged, and this is around that incident that is said to have happened in the judge's chambers when the judge president was apparently saying that does she see the effect that she has on him. But we do understand now that his counsel is planning to bring witnesses to challenge that?
Yes, during the wrap of day 10, Skakane SC teased that there would be further witnesses that would challenge or dispute the testimony given about the week of the 14th of November. Now, we've already heard from Andiso Mengo's emotional testimony about the alleged incident that she alleges took place in the judge's chambers during that week of the 14th of November. You may remember she testified that she was called to the judge president's chambers by him, and she was given that remark of the effect that she had on him, and that he allegedly then requested her to perform oral sex in his chambers, and she left those chambers. He will argue, or rather he'll deny it and state that it did not happen. And then of course they are planning to call in a secretary by the name of Zentle, who will testify that she would have been in that office the entire time that Mengo alleged this incident took place, and that she'll also give evidence that she left after Mengo had left the court in question. But Mengo's response to that is that she stands by her testimony. She has stated in response that he is not telling the truth about that incident, and she says she will await the arrival of that witness.
And what happens now in far as the work of the tribunal is concerned?
So at least now the worst for Andiso Mengo, because she did face a lot of scrutiny, not only in her evidence in chief, but in her cross-examination as well, as we're dealing with a very complex issue that isn't always based on the kind of evidence society may hope to see, but rather is an experience and an impact that is assessed before the tribunal. So what you can expect now is that we'll return on the 5th of May, and it'll sit again for another prolonged period of time, so at least 2 weeks, where we expect that the evidence leader, that is state advocate, senior state advocate, Solueme Skeepers, will call further witnesses in this all-important first ever sexual harassment probe in South Africa's judiciary.
And certainly a history-making moment this is, especially for the tribunal. Canny, let's see then what happens. You've been tracking this one for us, so definitely looking forward then to see what the next installments do bring. But thank you for wrapping the day for us. That's my colleague there, SABC News senior reporter Canny Maphanga.